Hi there, it's been a few weeks since my last review, so apologies for that. I've had a bit of a cold and not been feeling too great, and also been busy with a few other things, but here we go with another review. It's an MSX game, an exclusive for that system, released only in Japan also I believe. The game's called Car Fighter. There's the cartridge. So let's have a look at the fact file for the game. Car Fighter was released in 1985 in Japan, as mentioned. Published and developed by Casio. Price I paid for it was £17.95p including postage, which is quite a lot of money for a cartridge like this. Current going rate on eBay is £10 to £15, so I did pay a little bit over the odds for this, but MSX cartridges are generally quite hard to come by. I haven't got any packaging to look at, so let's take a look at the game now. Here's a title screen then. As you can see, if you're familiar with the Konami game Road Fighter, the title screen and the game itself are very familiar. Here's a rolling demo of the game, not a very good one because the computer controlled demo keeps crashing into stuff, but basically it's exactly the same as Road Fighter. You've got to get from one end of a course to another in a set amount of time, which is measured by fuel in this particular game. That's the number counting down, the number in the upper blue squared box there. And the only difference really between this and Road Fighter, well, there's two differences. One is you can shoot and also fire bombs at the enemy cars to stop them crashing into you. And also there's the opportunity to refill with fuel halfway through the level, which becomes essential on later stages in order to make it to the end. So that was a little rolling demo of the game. Let's get on and actually play it. You can see the map of where you've got to go from and to, starting from going from San Francisco to Los Angeles. And this first level in particular looks exactly like Road Fighter. So all you've got to do is accelerate up the screen and get to the end. There are enemies to be disposed of, as I mentioned. And you can do that either by shooting at them with the button on the controller, the joystick or control pad as I'm using. You can also use the graph key, which is a little bit unwieldy, to fire bombs. You've got a limited amount of bombs, but to be honest, they last throughout the stage for the most part. You can fire bombs forwards and backwards, as you can see. And all you've really got to do is get to the end of the level. As I mentioned also, you can stop for gas. In order to do that, you've got to stop in that white box, which I've totally missed. Luckily, I've got quite a bit of fuel left, so I should get to the end of this stage okay anyway. If you crash, you lose, I think, 20 units of fuel. The fuel is... oh, that's annoying. The fuel is what's counting down in the top of the two boxes. Obviously the other one being speed. I'm nearly at the end of the stage, so I should make it to the next level. There's a checkpoint. And so the next stage is to go from Los Angeles to San Diego. And again, this looks just like the second level of Road Fighter with the beach down one side. There's no jumps over water like I think there is in Road Fighter, if I remember correctly. There's enough obstacles to avoid in the stage as it is. So it's more of the same. There's three different colours of car. There's the red ones don't do you a lot of harm. They just kind of keep out of your way, but you can crash into them. There's also green ones and purple ones that come up from behind you. They're the ones that are more dangerous because they try and crash into you. There was a purple one, and there's another one. The gas is coming up. Let's see if I can stop on it right this time. Yeah, so you stop on the gas there, and things will come along behind you and try and bump into you and knock you off the gas like that. But I've stocked up to 100 gas, which is the highest level. You can have, as I mentioned, gas and time are basically the same thing. Time, the gas ticks down like 1 unit per second basically. I should have plenty of gas to get to the end of this stage now, as long as I don't crash into anything. There we go, that's the second stage completed, going quite nicely so far. The next stage goes from San Diego to Las Vegas, and this is where it gets a little bit more difficult because the road gets very thin and there's trucks on it which take a lot of hits to dispose of. So you've got to monitor your speed a little bit more closely, and you've also got things coming behind you trying to crash into you as well, just to continually make things annoying. So yeah, the truck is really irritating because it just kind of takes up the whole screen. No, it's going to crush me. That's a disaster. I'm not going to get anywhere on this level now, I don't think. Yeah, as you can hear the beeping as you're running out of fuel. Oh, the gas stop is coming up, so I might just make it. I can time this right. Amazingly, I've just managed to get the gas. I've only got 4 left, but I managed to restock, and hopefully that'll get me through to the end of the level as long as I don't crash. So graphics wise, it's pretty basic. As I said, the graphics are pretty much a rip-off of Road Fighter as well. What is quite interesting is that the scrolling is really good, and scrolling on MSX games generally is pretty terrible. So I'm not quite sure what they did to make it work so much better on this, but some of the makers of some of the shoot 'em ups could have done with following the same advice as this thing. Oh, I can't believe that, I was so close. So yeah, nice scrolling, otherwise very bland, blocky graphics. I'm going to struggle to get to the end of this stage, I think. There's just so much traffic on the roads and not really any way to get around it for the most part either. That's helpful. I might still make it. It's going to be close, I think, but... Oh, I've done it. Cool. I only had about 2 units of fuel left there. So the next stage is Las Vegas to Texas, which I've never got past. Because now the trucks start to throw stuff back at you onto the road as well. Oh, that's so annoying. I was almost round it then. There's also watery patches on the road that make you skid. So yeah, it's got a lot more difficult all of a sudden. That's what I mean about the trucks throwing little packages out the back of them, which are very difficult to avoid. Oh, I managed to squeeze past that there. Is there any chance I can get to a fuel stop? Oh, I've got virtually no fuel left. I think it's coming up on the right, but I don't think I'm going to make it. No chance. I've missed it now, that's it, it's game over. That's the most frustrating thing, is when you go firing past the gas and you've got no chance to recover. So that's pretty much the game. I haven't got much further than that. In fact, that's about as far as I've got. Not a lot of point playing through it again. You get the idea. Pretty nice little game. Bit of a twist on Road Fighter. This almost would have been a decent sequel to Road Fighter, with the addition of being able to fire bullets and stop for gas along the way. It's quite a fun game. Not quite sure it's worth the 18 quid I paid for it, and whether I'm going to keep it I'm not sure either, although I can't make any money from selling it, so I probably will keep it for the short term. So yeah, interesting game, MSX exclusive, although quite obviously a rip-off of a more famous game from Konami.
If you only knew the power of the dark side.
2, 1, 0.